All right. So I want to show you something real quick. Because it's a limited opportunity to do so. So let me introduce you to my gas gauge. Right? The gas gauge is over here. That's empty. And the mileage thingy over here says low. We need gas, we know that, we can see that. And it says 262.9. Let's say it's 262. All right. What happened at 262? Tank's empty. Normally, I only get 240 miles out of a gas tank. Gas tank is roughly 28 gallons. So each time I fill up all the way, and the little light is coming on. That one is coming on because the other thing is empty. And this one says 262.9. Alright, so how come I normally only get 240 miles and now I have 262 miles? 42 miles extra. When I had filled up the tank, right at the beginning of it, I made a trip to Jones Beach. Oh, it's been that long already. Wow. So I made a trip to Jones Beach. And that round trip is just about 40 miles. Now, from the last 6 months of driving, I know that I get 240 miles in the tank, which means it is 60 miles per quarter tank. Right? And this is fairly consistent. There's no change. I'm doing all city driving. It's 60 miles per quarter tank, so the entire tank gets me to around 240. Now, when I went to Jones Beach and I was highway driving, 40 miles. Now, it's 40 miles is 2/3 of a standard quarter tank mileage, right? And at the end of the day, now that the gas tank is empty, I have 42 miles extra. Shall I make a assumption or prediction for gas mileage for highway driving? So, if a quarter tank is 60, but by driving highway I get 22 miles extra. Does this mean for every quarter tank I get 22 miles extra? If that is the case, I would be getting 88 miles extra out of my mileage. So instead of 240, I would get 320. That's already quite a bit better. But we can break this down a little bit further. Now, if I get 22 miles extra and I used only 40 miles to do so, that means the whole quarter tank of 60 miles would get me 22 for 40, and for the additional 20 I get another 21. That means each quarter tank would actually get me 33 miles extra. That means for the entire full tank I should be getting 132 miles extra. So my highway mileage and this is a prediction, would be best case 372 miles. That is my anticipated highway range. 372 miles. I think that's not that bad. I mean, it's not great, right? But I think overall that is not that bad. It's a fairly decent range. Now, obviously, this is not based on a standard car tank of 16 gallons. This is based on a van tank of 28 gallons. So, is it good? No, not at all. However, at 240 miles, my average miles per gallon is about 8, maybe 8.5. And this means highway driving, I will get 50%. Highway driving, I would get 50% more mileage. So I would be getting 12.5, let's say 13 miles per gallon. Is that in line? Is 13 in line with 372? It's 228 gallons is 10, it's 280. And then 28 times 3 would be 60, 70, 84. I guess my theoretical calculation would be a little bit more than that. So it's perhaps a tiny bit over 13. A tiny bit over 13 miles per gallon on the highway, 8.5 to 9 city driving. No, it's not great. But it's a van, it's got a powerful engine in it. Maybe we could get away with less. But here's one of those things, right? When we think about vehicle gas per miles or miles per gas or per gallon, performance increases. They have largely been based on making vehicles lighter, bringing the weight down, and by doing that, increasing the mileage. Right? So if something was 4 tons before, and you bring it down to 2 tons, chances are you can get maybe not exactly twice as many miles out of it, but you're getting closer to that. So that is really what the only performance increase has been in engine design. They have done very little to actually increase mileage based on engine performance. They have reduced the weight and maybe some of the aerodynamics, but I'm not sure even if that matters. But overall, the weight of the vehicle has been brought down to get you those high mile per gallon kind of numbers. They may have made some improvement in their not fuel efficiency. What's the other thing? In their pollution department, right? They might have made the engines cleaner. Fine, right? But that's separate. As you could say, as a consumer, what's my first concern? Of course, that's shifting too. But my first concern is to get more miles. And my second concern is environmental. Right now, our thinking is maybe somewhat changing. People might be prioritizing environmental over the mileage. So they might go for electric cars or hybrid cars, right? So they feel better about that. They know they're sacrificing some mileage. But it's also easier to sacrifice mileage now that the vehicle weights have been brought down to increase mileage. You most certainly would not have done that 20 years ago, when the mileage was not that good. So, like many times, the prioritization of one thing requires that 2 or 3 or 4 other things happening first. because if those things don't happen first, then we are just not willing to make the other step, right? You need an incentive, right? You need, like, in order to share food, yeah, I know the fuel is low. In order to share food, you need to have food that you can actually share. So unless you have abundance, you're not willing to give, or you're not willing to give as much, or as openly, or as whatever, right? And I know people are gonna argue that too. But anyway, so 370 miles highway, 240 city. Now, do we actually get a 370 mile range on the highway? No, because when you actually drive highway, you have to be more conscious of the intervals of gas stations. So I'm pretty sure when I'm on my last which might yield me 90 miles, that is when I start looking for gas stations, right? Sometimes on the highway, they are 50, 60 miles apart, right? So if there's a sign next, take this one, next gas station is 50 miles, then I have to say, like, okay, I'm getting out of the quarter, I'm getting 90. This one is 5 miles away, and then the next one is 50 miles further, so it would be 55 miles. So I have 45 miles range left in my vehicle, right? Predicted. I have to be very concerned about that. Well, not very concerned, but with highway driving, you have to pay more attention to where you're actually going to be getting. And that means instead of 350 between gas stations, that means instead of 370 miles between gas stations, it is probably closer to 280 plus, but probably under 350, right? So that's kind of like my range of, hey, within that area, I will need to or should be finding a gas station. So, all that being said, it's time to go get gas. Now, gas prices these days have been a little bit on the higher side. They are like around $3.70 a gallon, which obviously doesn't make anyone happy. But at $3.70 a gallon, $100 roughly gets me a full tank. It gets me like 27 miles, which is almost a full tank. Depends, slight number changes depend on actual gas price, right? So it could drop 5-10 cents, and then I'm getting, of course, a little bit more. Then again, like at that price range, what does the 10 cents difference actually mean, right? So I'm getting 28 gallons, so I'm saving, let's say, 10 cents per gallon, but I'm only getting 28 gallons, so I'm only saving $2.80, but the gas is $3.60, so I'm not even getting a full gallon extra. So it's not like it's not like it has a massive impact. So how much are we getting here? The price is $3.70, which is exactly what I said. Oh, so here's another thing to be aware of. I'm just seeing that now. All right, $3.70, $3.69. Well, that's your cash price. Paying with credit card, it's $3.79. You pay 10 cents extra. Such a scam. 264.1. Alrighty, so we had a total mileage on the meter that was 264.1, and normally my credit card limits the purchase to $100. This time it didn't. I'm not sure why. So I went with as much as I can put in, which ended up 29.5 gallons. So yeah, that's a gas situation. You gotta be aware of how many miles you can get out of your vehicle. It also helps you to potentially track if something is wrong, right? Like if your gas mileage is way off, maybe there's something wrong somewhere, right? Like now when I put the gas cap on, I made sure that I tightened it very nicely, right? Like I learned from the last time when I had the check engine light come on. But yeah, that's $112. That's a lot of money. And today is Saturday, so it's September 30th. I think it's September 30th. So we'll see how long this tank will last us. I'm really just doing city driving, and I'm kind of trying to not waste my gas. If I drive on average 10 miles a day, then I get 24 days out of it. 3 weeks and a couple of days. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for not even going anywhere. Right? But it's a cost of living. It's a cost of living in a van. Right? We shouldn't be ignorant to the fact that even for van life there's costs associated with it, and sometimes those costs can rub us the wrong way, and sometimes maybe it doesn't matter. Let me show you a copy of my receipt real quick. It's 9:30. It's September 30th, 3 in the afternoon. I paid $112.15 for 29.5 gallons, and the price is $379.9. That is a lot of money. A lot of money. What happened to the days of filling up your tank with a 20? What happened to those days? And this, my friends, was a van life gas mileage edition. What have we learned? City driving 240 mile range on a 28 gallon tank. Highway 370 mile range on a 28 gallon tank. And a full tank of gas at $3.80 cost us $112. Your mileage may differ. Peace out.